By the way, let's just search up Tangle. Because we get toys, and we get brushes, and we get videos, and none of this has anything to do with the one thing that people should be getting if they search for the name of whatever this tree is. But maybe block tree instead of blockchain. It's a block tree. And you know, when you search for that, you don't get a lot of competition online. So I'm just saying, if we start calling it block tree, the media starts calling it block tree, it'll actually get more people who want to search for it. They'll actually find it. So let's get into the app itself. I've always loved the word phrases. I know that there's an understanding that you use that as a method of last resort in order to save your account. But I also just love that instead of a password, which is hard to memorize, you can instead get a word phrase, which you are expected to memorize at some point, or at least have written down somewhere. Now, right away, the whole idea that with a few button presses, I can send money over the Tangle is amazing. I understand that that is not the way it used to work for a long time. You had to be technically gifted in order to send actual value over the Tangle. Well, here I am. Let's send some funds as an internal transfer to my business account. Let's send 5 because we're feeling generous. Oh. Have to enter your password in order to send money, which I'm already in my account. Maybe I don't need to do. Like, I have access to the wallet. I don't need to enter my password a second time. That's just inconvenient. Let's not do that. So it takes a little bit of time, but remember, more messages per second, the better. So these speed issues will go away just by growing the network, which is amazing. I just sent 5 from this account to this account, and there was no bank involved. There still is no bank involved, and I'm storing this value. This just holds value and moves it from one place to another, which is beautiful. But as a user, I'm not going to use this because there's nothing I can do with this. Payments aren't just payments, they're motivated payments, and they have to fit within my life in order for me to use this tool. So if I'm going to use this in order to hold all my value, I'm going to have a personal account. And on my personal account, I'll have my important documents, my proof of birth, my proof of identification, my proof of ownership of my house and my car. I'm going to have the amount that I'm going to use in order to get by, to buy things as I go along in my life. But this business account, I don't just need to send money to people. I need to have the motivation for that money being sent clarified in the transaction. So I need to be able to run payroll with this. I need to be able to receive all of my customer funds and have receipts go in the opposite direction for what they've received. If I'm self-employed, I need to be able to send invoices to my customers and have them send money in return for the approved transaction. Because I can't just rely on them sending me money and then I'll send them a receipt. I need to initiate it. So that's an important aspect of this. And rather than account value over time, don't really need to look at that. Account activity, don't really need to look at that. This is precious real estate. Instead, I want to be able to have options of powers, of things that I can do. And when I have the option to create my own smart contracts, or at least to go through a process where I will be guided through how to create a smart contract that monitors this account so that every 2 weeks, my employees get paid. And they are also sent the tokenized versions of paid time off. And by exchanging 7 of these paid time off tokens, they are then burned. And then I am allowed to take out a week of absence every 2 weeks, or hell, every day. It's an automatic process. At the end of every day, everybody is settled. And this huge headache and worry and pain and stress of learning an entire new system just in order to run payroll is now gone. Because this will just take care of it as long as everybody works within the system. The issue is we need everybody to work within the system. And it's an entirely different system than the one we already have. Because the one we currently have is built off of checking and routing numbers. It's built off of insurance companies. It's built out of these automatic deductions from your bank account. And of course, the money inside of your bank account is just an IOU from the bank that they will pay you however much they say they need to pay you. And if that involves some overdraft fees, oh well, they kind of own you. Well, not here. There's no overdraft fees here. You try to send money that you don't have, it just doesn't go through. It just doesn't go through. It doesn't get honored. Sorry, there's not enough money there because this is real money. This is not debt. You can't just go negative with this. There's no such thing, which is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And that core at the center of this is why this is still better than whatever easy to use payment systems there are on my phone or that the businesses around me use in order to make sure everybody gets the pay that they need to have. Right now, the goal is to take this and make it so that machines can pay each other. That's cool. That's real cool. I just think it kind of misses the point, is that we are put on this planet to help other human beings, and there are other human beings currently experiencing some real shit lives. And I think that the fact that this is value here, and there's no bank account, there's no physical currency to represent it, no money is stored inside of a big vault. It's literally just numbers on your account, and only you have access to your account, which means if we are going to do work and get paid for it, or we're going to pay for someone else to do work for us, we want that to be an easy process here. And yes, there'll be some amount of volatility if they use IOTA tokens as a currency, but there's volatility in our current economic system. There are crashes every 5 to 7 years, and there's going to be another one. I'd rather have real money that can't go negative as opposed to whatever we currently have, which is 95% credit. I mean, think about this staggering amount of debt that we're currently in. And it's the fact that we can even have that option in the first place that causes us to go there. The fact that banks have the option to print two debts that cancel each other out, and then to just keep separating those obviously like matter-antimatter forces. They need to come back and collide with each other. You can't get away with that forever. It's no wonder our economy crashes, because you're trying to make more and more money while providing less and less actual value to people. Because all you're doing is moving numbers around. Well, this moves numbers around. And it does it all automatically. Or at least that's the goal, is to make all of the hard stuff, all of the thinky parts, just take it all away from people. And it's just, okay, I need to send money. Okay. Why do I need to send money? I need to send money because I am buying groceries. Okay. So there is a terminal with this address, an amount that you need to pay for the things that you have scanned. The machine presents a transaction with this address and the amount that you need to pay. You scan that with your phone, this little URL, let's say. Not a URL, block code. I don't know what the fuck it's called. Anyway, you scan that. You approve that payment. Like, you can receive, you can copy the address, but you can't specifically send a receive request. And you need to be able to send a receive request. And with that receive request, you need to send something that they are getting in return for receiving that, like the receipt. that proves that you bought all this stuff. Because as it stands right now, you've got a list of transaction histories between here and there. Between you and, I just wish I can copy it to clipboard. That's nice, but I want to change it to someone's name. I want to change it to a business. You sent money to Safeway. You received money from Eric. And why did that transaction happen? That transaction happened because you fixed his plumbing. And you're a plumber. And you fix a lot of plumbing. So you want to be able to hop in here, log in, see that you've received a bunch of payments and start sending out for the work that you did today. You want to be able to send out 3-4 invoices and have those payments realized as they approve them. And on the other end, you have received a request to pay from this individual. And obviously, if we use universal IDs, that can also mean that businesses can have a universal brand image, with a verified sticker that cannot be misrepresented. You simply can't misrepresent yourself if you are using universal ID. If you voluntarily say, I am this, my name is Brian, I run Business Incorporated. It's beautiful, but it's not there. No one can use this. How do we get people to use it? Are we even trying to get people to use it? That's the thing. I want to review this and I want to be kind. This technology is beautiful, but it needs to fix people's lives. And right now it's not doing that. It's just testing. It's a beta. It's not ready yet. I know it's not ready yet. I just want it to be ready and I want to help it get there. That you approve 2 transactions when you send, and because of that, there's no fees. This is just how value and ownership are traded. This is how things are kept. This is how the ledger system works. It just makes sense. But there's only one way it gets there, and that's with public adoption. And the public they're not going to adopt this. This isn't anything. They can't do something with it. And if we want to take over the main way that people send money, it has to be able to do everything that people send money for. The main issue is that the businesses don't want to accept this currency. They don't want to participate in the system. They like the system how it is. And even though we may want to pay with this, doesn't mean that they want to receive it. So we have to make those businesses want to receive this currency. We reduce their HR needs, their invoicing needs, all of the finicky stuff that gets in the way. We replace multiple tools into one tool. You do not need a bank account anymore. You don't need QuickBooks anymore. We have to be able to put this in front of a nobody who doesn't know anything about it and tell them that you can transfer money to your friends and to your business partners and to your employees without all the headaches that you had to go through before. You have to be able to store the assets and certificates of ownership that are associated with your personal, your business, your savings. This is where you put your stocks, your other cryptocurrencies that could go up and down. You're playing around money that is just separate from your personal. Personal is where you have your ID and your health records and all of the files that are associated with you as a human being. The sack of cells that sits there and listens to this. The business is where you keep your public persona that solves customer needs. This isn't about sending money. It's about sending the money out of the way of what we need to do with it. That's what this has always been about. We used to be able to write checks, but then people started walking around with these little keychains with numbers on them. And that meant simply write it down in a ledger book and don't worry about transferring any money because it's guaranteed to be settled at the end of the month because I'm with this big company that lets me just pay for things without worrying about it, without wasting any time writing a check, which is what the credit card companies came in and did. They made it so that now we just have a card with some numbers on it, and that is connected to the bank account, and it's really easy to pay with it. Well, this is the next evolution beyond that, taking all of that archaic technology that we have used so far, destroying it, automating all of the worst parts of it, and putting it all online, removing centralization. So many benefits, we can't even comprehend all of them. But people need to understand the depth of the problem they are working on here. This is not just a casual thing to do. This is serious. People need this to save their lives. This is necessary. It has to be used. It has to be ready.